I want to start today's deep dive with a feeling that I think is, frankly, haunting a lot of people right now.
Oh, yeah.
It's early 2026. You look at your calendar and you are working harder than you were in, say, 2020. You've got the job, maybe a side gig. You're upskilling at night.
Right, doing all the right things.
Exactly. But then you look at your purchasing power or your savings goals, and it feels like you're running up a down escalator. You're exhausted, but you aren't actually moving forward.
It's the defining anxiety of this year, honestly. And the stack of sources we're diving into today, the strategic economic analyses, the labor forecasts, they basically validate that exact feeling.
They really do.
They say you aren't crazy, the escalator is moving faster than you are. The underlying thesis here is that the old American Dream rulebook didn't just get edited, it got thrown into the shredder.
Which is terrifying, but also weirdly validating. Because for a while, I think, people thought, maybe I'm just bad with money. But the sources are arguing that the economy has fundamentally shifted from a linear game to an exponential one. And if you're playing by the old linear rules, work hard, save 10%, wait your turn, you are mathematically guaranteed to lose.
That's the crux of it. The safe path has basically become the dangerous path. And our mission today is to unpack why that is.
Yeah, we're going to be looking specifically at three things. This whole concept of AI washing in the corporate world, the total collapse of the university degree as a safety net, and this one-person ecosystem model that the top 1% are using to sort of escape the rat race.
Let's start with the diagnosis, because we're seeing these massive headlines. Amazon cutting 16,000 jobs, Google restructuring.
Yeah, and the narrative you hear on the news is usually just, oh, the economy is tightening.
But the sources use this specific term, AI washing.
Right, and is that just a buzzword or is it something different?
It's very real, and it's actually incredibly cynical. You know greenwashing, right? Where a company pretends to be eco-friendly.
Yeah, they changed their logo to green for a month.
Exactly. Well, AI washing is when a company lays off thousands of workers, not because AI can do their jobs today, but because the company wants to signal to shareholders that they are future-proofing.
So wait, they aren't firing me because a robot is currently sitting at my desk doing my spreadsheet better than me.
No, not at all. They're firing you to free up the capital to build the infrastructure so the robot can do it next year.
Wow.
It's a forecast-based culling of the workforce.
That's almost worse. It's like speculative firing.
It is, and that creates this massive disconnect for the worker. You could be hitting every target, doing excellent work, and still get cut. Because the metric isn't, are you productive?
Right, the metric is.
Do you fit into an AI-first architecture? And for a lot of traditional roles, the answer is just no.
This connects directly to the whole education bubble thing. We're seeing Apple, IBM, Google, they're all dropping degree requirements.
Yeah.
And I always thought that was them being inclusive or progressive. But the analysis suggests it's actually because the degrees are useless to them now.
Useless might be a harsh word, but expired is definitely accurate. The half-life of a learned skill is now estimated at about 5 to 10 years.
So you do the math on that.
Right, you spend 4 years getting a degree. By the time you walk across the stage, your freshman year curriculum is literally obsolete.
There was that stat in the report that blew my mind. 65% of primary school students today will work in job types that literally don't exist yet.
Which means the old learn once, work forever model is completely dead. If you're banking on a credential you earned 10 years ago to protect you in 2026, you are building your house on sand.
Okay, so the job market is volatile. We get that. But I want to get to the underlying math here because this is where the linear versus exponential thing comes in.
Yes, this is crucial.
Now, we've all heard the Singularity University analogy about the 30 steps, right? It's a classic in tech circles.
It is a classic, but most people only apply it to computing power. They don't apply it to their own careers. And that's the fatal mistake.
Just to refresh everyone listening, 30 linear steps is 30 meters. You walk across your living room.
Right.
But 30 exponential steps, where you're doubling, 1, 2, 4, 8, what does that look like?
It's 1 billion meters. You go around the entire Earth 26 times.
The gap between across the room and 26 times around the Earth is the gap between how our human brains think and how technology actually moves.
Exactly. And the sources break this down using Peter Diamandis' model, the 6 Ds of technology. Have you seen this?
Yeah, walk us through it.
So first, something becomes digitized. It turns into ones and zeros. Then it's deceptive.
Deceptive because the early growth looks totally flat.
Right, like early digital cameras that look like toys. but then it becomes disruptive. It suddenly surpasses the old legacy tech.
And then the last three are where the economy breaks.
Yes, dematerialize. The physical item, like your GPS or your flashlight, just becomes an app on your phone. Then demonetize. The cost drops to near zero. And finally, democratize. Everyone gets access, not just billionaires.
So why does this matter for the listener's paycheck today?
Because hard work is linear. You work 40 hours, you get paid for 40 hours. You work harder, maybe 50 hours, you get a little more. You are taking linear steps.
While the competition is taking exponential steps.
Exactly. Competing on hard work alone is a race to the bottom against algorithms that literally never sleep.
You're racing a Ferrari on a bicycle.
You cannot pedal fast enough to catch up to an exponential curve. You have to get off the bike and get in a car.
Which brings us to the how. If we stop pedaling, what do we actually do? The sources lay out a mindset shift for the top 1% called the 3 no's.
Right.
And I have to be honest, when I first read them, they sounded kind of arrogant.
They do, yeah.
The first one is no competing.
It sounds arrogant, but it's actually defensive. In 2026, raw skills are becoming commodities. If you are a generic copywriter or a generic coder or just a generic accountant,
You're competing with AI that costs fractions of a cent.
exactly. If you compete on price or hours, you will lose, period.
So no competing doesn't mean don't try. It means don't play their game directly.
Correct. You have to occupy a niche so specific that there is no competition. You combine your unique personality, your weird specific experiences, and your skills into a package that an AI cannot replicate.
You become a category of one.
Precisely.
Okay, the second one is no asking. This is the one that felt the most uncomfortable to me. We are trained from kindergarten to raise our hands, right?
Wait for the teacher to call on you.
Yeah, wait for the boss to assign the project.
Yeah.
Wait for the green light from corporate.
And that training is now a massive liability. The gatekeepers, the bosses, the publishers, the hiring managers, they are drowning in noise right now. They don't have time to give you permission.
The source material is brutal on this. It says the market doesn't have a door to knock on anymore.
It really doesn't.
So if I'm not asking for a job or permission, what am I doing?
You are putting value out into the world. You launch the project, you publish the analysis, you build the prototype yourself, and you let the market respond with either data or money.
You don't ask, can I do this? You say, I did this. Who wants it?
Exactly. It's moving from compliance to initiative, which leads right into the third no, which is no waiting.
And this is about speed, right? Because in a linear world, you wait for perfection. You polish the quarterly report for 3 weeks.
But in an exponential world, by the time you perfect it, the market has completely shifted. The sources compare this no-waiting mindset to how venture capitalists think.
Explain that.
A VC doesn't expect every single bet to win. They bet on 10 different startups. They fully expect 8 of them to fail completely.
But the one winner pays for everything else.
Exactly. As an individual, you need that same portfolio mindset for your output. You launch 10 small experiments. No waiting means you don't agonize over the failures.
You launch, measure, fix, and scale.
Right. You are looking for the one thing that catches the exponential curve. You are basically trading perfection for tight feedback loops.
Okay, so that's the mindset. Stop competing, stop asking, stop waiting. But we need actual tools. We can't just mindset our way to wealth.
No, you definitely need mechanics.
And the sources distinguish heavily between labor and leverage. I think most people still mix these two up.
They are absolute opposites. Labor is you stop working, the money stops. Leverage is you do the work once, and it pays you forever, or it multiplies your effort 1,000 times over without you being there.
The report lists 4 types of leverage: technology, distribution, capital, and reputation.
Yes.
Let's talk about technology first, because there is a huge update here in the 2026 data. A year ago, the golden advice was to learn prompt engineering.
Right. Learn how to talk to ChatGPT.
Exactly. But the sources are now saying don't bother. That's already dead.
Dead in the sense that it's not a high-leverage skill anymore. AI models are getting so smart that they understand messy natural language perfectly. You don't need to be an AI whisperer anymore.
So what's the new leverage?
The no leverage isn't talking to the AI. It's managing AI agents.
Make that concrete for me. What is the actual difference between a chatbot and an agent?
Think of a chatbot like a really smart typewriter. You sit there, you type, the type's back. You are still the bottleneck in that process. You are driving the car.
Okay.
An agent is a chauffeur, or really a digital employee. You don't chat back and forth with it. You just give it a goal.
Like what?
You say, Analyze the last 500 reviews of our main competitor, categorize the complaints, and draft a strategy document to beat them. And then you go to sleep.
It does all that.
Yes, the agent goes off, uses different software tools, maybe browses the web, synthesizes the data, and comes back the next morning with the work done.
So the fundamental skill shift is from being a doer to being a manager.
Exactly. I'm not writing the code. I'm the product manager for a team of digital AI coders.
If you are still trying to be the primary doer, you have zero leverage.
Right, you need to be the architect of the system now.
Okay, let's look at the other leverage points. Distribution, that's obviously your content and audience. Capital, using money to scale. Reputation, your brand selling for you. But how do we actually combine these? The sources talk about this concept called the one-person ecosystem.
This is the wealth mechanism.
Honestly, when I first read one-person ecosystem, my eyes glazed over a bit. It sounds like classic corporate jargon.
Yeah.
Can we make this real?
Absolutely.
What does a one-person ecosystem actually look like for, say, a mid-level marketing manager named Sarah?
Okay, let's build Sarah's ecosystem. In the old linear model, Sarah has a job. She works 9 to 5, she gets a salary, that's it. One income stream, zero leverage.
Right.
But she doesn't want to just be a fragmented freelancer either, because that's just multitasking, which is still bad. So in the ecosystem model, Sarah needs a hub. Let's say her hub, her core competency, is remote team culture. That's the specific problem she solves.
Okay, so she's the go-to expert on making remote teams actually function.
Right. Now she builds Spoke One, which is distribution. She doesn't just do her day job, she documents her frameworks. She starts a newsletter or a YouTube channel specifically about how to onboard remote employees.
She's building an audience around her hub.
Exactly. That is her leverage. Now she has attention.
What spoke to that?
Monetization. She takes those tested frameworks and turns them into a digital toolkit, checklists, templates, video guides. She sells that for $150. Now, while she is sleeping, people across the world are buying her brain.
That is product leverage.
Yes. And the cool part is the day job actually feeds the ecosystem.
Oh, because her job gives her the case studies for the newsletter.
Right. The newsletter builds a reputation that makes her more valuable at the day job. And the digital product creates a separate cash flow that isn't tied to her hours at all.
She becomes a literal node in the market network.
Yeah.
Opportunities just come to her.
Exactly.
Now, this brings up a really interesting point about money itself. The sources contrast cash versus cash flow.
The velocity of money.
Right. And they mention something called the tokenization of real-world assets, or RWA.
Yeah.
Now, usually when I hear crypto or blockchain, I totally tune out. But the report says this is critical for the capital part of leverage. Why is that?
Forget the crypto hype entirely. Think purely about liquidity. In the past, if Sarah made $5,000 from her digital product, what would she do with it?
Stick it in a savings account. Maybe wait 5 years until she saves enough for a down payment on a rental property.
Right, but that is slow money.
It's dead money. It's just sitting there losing value to inflation every single day.
Exactly. The wealthy focus on the flow. They collect fast, reinvest fast, and never let money sit dead. RWA, real-world assets, just means using tech to split big assets into tiny, highly liquid pieces.
So instead of waiting years to buy a building,
Sarah can take that $5,000 today and instantly buy a fraction of a commercial building or a fraction of a revenue-generating bond via blockchain.
so it really is all about velocity.
It's about keeping the money constantly moving. In 2026, you immediately deploy your cash into income-generating assets. RWA is just the tech infrastructure that allows normal people to do that with small amounts of money instantly.
It turns your savings account into a compounding engine. So the one-person ecosystem summarized is you solve a specific problem, that's the hub. You attract an audience, that's distribution. You sell a scalable solution, monetization. And you instantly reinvest the profits to assets, which is capital.
That is the machine. That is exactly how you escape the linear trap.
There's a test for this in the notes. Pretty scary one. The coma test.
Yeah, this is the ultimate audit. You ask yourself, if I fell into a coma for a month, would my income go to zero?
Wow.
If the answer is yes, you have zero leverage, you are purely labor. But if the answer is no, my products would still sell online, my investments would still pay out dividends.
That you actually have leverage. That is a brutal reality check.
It's necessary, though, because in this economy, labor is inherently precarious. You need to build a system that works when you don't.
We're coming to the end here, and I want to quickly touch on the survival skills listed in the report. Because if AI agents are doing the coding and the analyzing, what is actually less for us humans?
The list is fascinating because it isn't technical at all.
Right? It's things like emotional intelligence, ethical thinking, data literacy, complex negotiation.
Those are the exact things the machine cannot do yet. An AI can write a perfect contract, but it can't look a client in the eye and build genuine trust.
It can analyze a spreadsheet, but it can't navigate toxic office politics or make a highly nuanced ethical call.
Exactly. The paradox is that the more advanced technology we have, the more valuable simply being human becomes.
I really want to leave you, the listener, with a thought that struck me while reading all of this material. We've spent this whole deep dive talking about becoming a one-person ecosystem,
Yeah.
becoming hyper-efficient, autonomous, highly leveraged.
Right.
But if we all do that, what happens to us as a society?
How do you mean?
Well, the old American dream used to be heavily about community, working together in a factory or an office. If the optimal survival strategy for 2026 is to become the solitary node in a digital network, interacting with AI agents more than real people.
Are we just optimizing ourselves into total isolation? That is the massive shadow side of leverage. You can definitely build a pipeline that pays you while you sleep, but you have to actively make sure you aren't building a wall that keeps everyone else out.
Right.
The challenge of this decade isn't just to get wealthy. It's to use that newfound freedom to actually connect with people on a deeper level, not just transact with them.
That's the real takeaway right there. Are you building a life or just a really efficient revenue stream?
Better to know the rules than to play blind, though.
Absolutely. So to everyone listening, I want you to identify your core competency today and ask yourself, are you building a pipeline that pays you while you sleep, or are you just carrying buckets of water faster than the person next to you?
Think about it.
Huge thank you to our sources for this wake-up call. Go build that leverage, but don't forget to talk to a human once in a while. We'll see you on the next deep dive.